Coming up on episode 185, a surprise Paper Mario announcement from Nintendo, some follow-up news on Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Unearthed Arcana, and much, much more on the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast, bringing you the latest and greatest geeky news of the week. I am your host, Sean Hayes, and with me are my wonderful co-hosts, as always, Courtney Bolin. Courtney, you're muted.
Muted. Still muted. Yes, you are.
Well, and Josh York.
Well, let's see. Are we as wonderful as Sean says? Let's ask the Magic 8 Ball. It is certain.
Ooh. Hey, am I? There we go.
Now you are.
There we go.
We got a free reading from the Magic 8 Ball, and I didn't have to spend any proprietary animal points.
None. Yes. You like my name for this?
I do. So, we had basically some follow-up information that's come out. Basically, people have been pressing Ubisoft for info on the new Assassin's Creed game. Some of it good, some of it maybe not quite going over too well with the audience.
Excuse me.
We'll say. But one of the things is that it is coming out for current gen as well as next gen consoles and PC.
That sounds about right at the end of a console generation.
Yeah,
that there's overlap.
Yep.
I mean,
but it's being capped at 30 frames a second.
Most games are 30 frames a second anyway.
Yeah, this is
rare that a game on a console will be to 60. Yeah. It is very rare you get a 60 frame a second game.
Yeah.
On a console.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with this, especially the fact that it consistently runs at 30 frames a second. I think it would be a bigger issue if it cycled between 30 and 60. Because that's a noticeable jump.
You'll notice that. And the only people who are going to whine about that are the PC people anyway. If you consistently play games on console, you're not going to notice anything.
And it may very well be that that there's additional options on PC anyway, since you can fiddle with a lot more on PC.
That's on consoles. That's only on this generation. On the next gen, there'll be 60. Or just 30 across the board.
Let me double check that. I think it was 30 across the board.
That's crap. Why even have a new generation of consoles if we can't bump up to 60? I don't care about how many triangles. I want 60 frames in the new. It's time.
Okay, so it will run at a minimum of 30 frames per second. Maybe.
I don't even want it to be 4K. Give me 1080. Fine. 1080 at 60 frames is great.
So let's see. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. In the image above. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. No, I can't. Oh, I just instead made my text giant in the browser window.
Nailed it.
Let's see. So it will run at least 30 frames per second. In 4K. So yeah. But that's all the information.
What else?
Yeah, and that's on Xbox Series X. So, Yeah. So the fact that they said at least 30 means probably not running consistently at 60 then.
Yeah.
At least as of right now. I would say if they're going to continue to work on optimizing it, then maybe it could get to that point.
Maybe.
Yeah. Here's the other thing, is that the game will also be much smaller than Odyssey.
Yeah, we said that last week.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
We discussed
so
that last week.
That's where the thing is, a lot of people are saying, folks are upset that, like, if this game's going to be smaller than Odyssey.
Geographically, it'll be half the size, but it'll have 4 times as many triangles.
It'll have millions of triangles. Yeah. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. So, folks of current gen console, because I think I said last week that it was going to be a Series X exclusive, but it is also coming to PlayStation at some point and PC at some point as well.
Yeah.
So, as well as current gen. So I mean, that's nice for folks that were kind of on the fence about upgrading, or if the next gen consoles get delayed. So
yeah,
it's always iffy buying a new console at the beginning of a generation too.
Yeah.
Unless like there's something you really, really want, I think it's worth it to wait till like the next generation of that generation.
Yeah.
Comes out.
Yeah, so like the Pro editions, or I mean, or in the case of the Switch, even just when they did the sort of battery update.
Yeah. Like even if they just make like minor hardware fixes in like the next production line set that comes out.
Yeah.
Like there's always like a classic PS2. Lasers would burn out all the time.
Yep.
On early PS2s, that was a big problem.
Shall we talk about the Xbox 360?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
The infamous Red Ring of Death.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Red Ring.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I would get people trying to trade in. Every once in a while, I'd get somebody traded in, and there would be a red ring, and I'm like, I can't take a red ring. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not like cars where you can just like shop it out for parts. Like.
No, well, those.
Because I mean, if you could, then yeah.
But. Yeah, you can't shop out the system for parts, but we could sometimes.
There aren't really
the
console
power supply
mechanics.
Or yeah.
And it's not like you can. Well, I guess technically you could buy the electronic pieces that go to it and switch. Yeah. Like if you were like some electrical engineer and you really knew how to do that stuff. But that's not as common as a car mechanic, right?
Yeah. Because the thing is, like, when a car mechanic works on your car, they don't void the warranty the moment they start working on your car.
And I'm also going to say this. A car is probably simpler in a lot of ways than...
Oh, 100%. Just by virtue of the fact that it has
mechanical parts. I'm not talking about the computer parts. Particularly modern cars have a lot of computerized stuff. But like the mechanical parts of it are relatively simple. So it's just different.
In terms of for one thing, like often with electronic components is you might not be able to repair them like in a shop. Kind of a thing is like they might require, I don't know, having a technician or something.
It'd be cool though.
I know for some stuff for my car, I have to go back to the dealership.
It'd be cool. You could bring your PS4 to the shop and drop it off for an afternoon, and
or you could do like what I did.
I'm kind of surprised this isn't a thing because like that's the whole point for Apple stores.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The Apple store is designed to
I don't
sell
own
Apple
really any
products
Apple
and
products,
repair
but I
Apple
guess I
products.
get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
like Apple wants you to take it to Apple licensed dealers. Which are usually just the Apple store, but we also have like we have one third
have one
party
here. Yep.
licensed repair shop.
Yeah.
People, particularly on old gaming carts and stuff, do a lot of minor repairs and cleanings.
Oh yeah.
Replacing out batteries.
I saw an Imager post.
You have to replace, especially now. You got to replace batteries on those old NES and SNES games because by now they've run out and you can't save your games anymore.
Even some of those regular, like the Game Boy Color ones, like.
Yeah, if they had if they had a save game feature, they had a battery.
Yeah, I know the Pokemon games is the most like common one. Like all of those batteries have probably run out by now.
Yeah.
I had this was maybe like 6-7 years ago. I was playing like Final Fantasy 3, also known as Final Fantasy 6 on Super Nintendo. Or it was Earthbound. It was that or Earthbound or something like that. I was playing some RPG on SNES and my save got lost because the battery died.
Oh no.
And I was super bummed because I was like halfway through the game and I was like, oh, I'm not redoing that again.
So what happens when the battery died? Do you just like have to restart the game every single time you play it?
Pretty much. I mean, I didn't keep going to see, but I would assume because I was pretty tilted and salty about losing 25 hours, 30 hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
And that's still only half as much time as you spent doing pull-ups for Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh my god.
But anyway, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole because we got to talk about so Paper Mario: The Origami King. This came out of nowhere. Like
unexpected.
There was a rumor that we were going to get a new Paper Mario game. But
Makes
Nintendo
sense.
had made like no indication. And then it's coming out in July.
That's right. That's what I was surprised about. Like, whoa, that's
there's been no marketing up until now. Nintendo has shown that they will do this in the past, but it's never been for a game series that's been as big as Paper Mario. It's always been, for like
is Paper Mario that big of a series though? I mean, Mario overall is. Paper Mario's kind of a niche.
So what I just mean is like the only other times that they've dropped stuff and basically said like, and it's out today, has been like for much smaller titles.
Yes. Yeah, like they'll do a Nintendo Direct and be like, oh, this indie game is out today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like NES Remix. Or it was like Dr. Luigi was also something like that.
But I feel like they do it like DLCs and stuff sometimes too.
Maybe. That might be the case.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's never been like I mean, it's not like I wouldn't call it a flagship series.
It's never been for like a whole ass big game.
Yeah. But it's still like
it's never been for like a major title. But
it's still one of their I mean, by nature of it being like a first party title.
I'd be like, imagine if it was like they announced Mario Galaxy 3 and like it's out next week. And it's like that was it.
Actually, if they said, oh, we're doing a remake of Super Mario Sunshine and it's out tomorrow.
Yeah.
By the way. Like
I wouldn't put it past them to do something like that.
Well, so here's the thing. That's likely not to happen because the Switch doesn't have analog triggers, which are required to play that game because you need analog triggers to control the water pressure coming out of the backpack.
Wait, which ones are analog triggers?
So analog triggers are basically, it allows you to...
So is it like...
There's triggers.
Control the amount you press in.
But they're not just buttons. Those are the ones that kind of... You can squeeze it just a little bit.
Oh, I guess
like
I see what you
ones
mean. These just
on
click.
the bottoms.
There's no
play.
I love how we both just pulled out our Switches.
Yeah.
So,
no, it would be something like
L.
You would need something like a GameCube controller, which has, that you're able to control how much you press in the trigger.
Yeah, I just tested an Xbox controller and my PS4 controller right here, and they both have They don't click. They just have they have
So
play.
the ZR and the ZL buttons, for podcast listeners, are the ones that we're talking about.
Yes.
If you didn't already know, like I wasn't aware.
I still call them the trigger buttons on my Switch.
For me, it's top bumper, bottom bumper. So, like, that's how I refer to them.
The flat ones are bumpers and the triggers are triggers. That's just how I've always thought of them.
Yep.
Regardless of what system or whatever controller I'm using.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that's
so Paper Mario. We don't really know an awful lot about this game. It has some element of sounds like you're gonna team up with Bowser, basically. And it's another game where Peach has been abducted and corrupted. And so
Peach abducted? You gotta be kidding me.
Right. I mean, that happens all the time, right? But it's more the fact that she gets corrupted so that she is one of the villains, it seems. That's a twist that they've put on in like the Mario and Luigi saga games, as well as some of the Paper Mario games. So
of Peach getting corrupted, or just somebody getting corrupted?
Yeah. Corrupted. So yeah. No word on sidekicks. That's been a point of contention among the Paper Mario fan base, is whether or not we will get sidekicks in the game. And whether it's going to continue pushing the series in a more like turn-based action game, or really go back to sort of the RPG roots that it had. Looks like there's some element of like enemies in ring patterns for the battle system. So not really sure what that's about. But yeah, it's coming soon. So I hope, they put together some kind of mini direct or whatever. They did announce that they are not doing their E3 direct this year, which is a huge bummer. Yeah, they're just not doing it. Which apparently, so that was I picked that bit of news up from IGN's Nintendo podcast, because they said they were looking really forward to it. For they were going to set up this like collection of sort of press releases and announcements and stuff that companies were going to do in place of E3.
I was gonna say, because E3 has obviously been probably
E3
canceled.
is not happening at all. And so they were hoping to capitalize.
It wasn't even scheduled to happen and then got canceled, or
no, it's not. In that, people thought that they were going to do an online event, and they're not doing that either.
Okay.
So it was scheduled to happen and got canceled.
Okay.
It's just they're not doing an online thing.
They're not doing an online thing either now.
No. But the fact that Nintendo's decided that they're not going to do an E3 direct or an E3 replacement direct or whatever, is a bit sad. So we'll have to see what sort of how more information comes out. Hopefully it's something a little more put together than just like social media posts. It'd be nice to get a video, but I mean, we'll see. Because
I thought that the guy who does the Game Awards was trying to do like some online thing throughout the summer.
Oh, what was it? Summer, maybe Summer of Fun or something?
I don't know.
I remember it because that was something that IGN was talking about. Was they were trying to do like a Summer of Games or something like that.
Yeah.
Where they were collecting all these showcases that companies were going to do and presenting it. Sort of almost like an E3 live stream replacement. But Nintendo,
and that's where the Tony Hawk remake announcement came from. Was that? I'm pretty sure.
No, I just started seeing a whole bunch of memes with it.
Jeff Keighley, Jeff something.
Let's see.
I have no idea. All I know is Bowser works at Nintendo.
He's not associated with any company. He's his own guy. He runs the Game Awards.
Yeah, Summer Game Fest. Jeff Keighley.
Yes.
Yes. Unveiled schedule includes EA, CD Projekt Red, and more. And it's like, well, be hearing from companies like, I think they mean Sony, because PlayStation's not really a company. Like, unless I don't know, unless PlayStation's a division of Sony. But...
They're probably a division.
Okay. But then they say Microsoft, so I think they just meant Sony. 2K, Activision, Bethesda, Bandai Namco, Warner Brothers, EA, CD Projekt Red, Bungie, Blizzard, Digital Extremes. Blizzard's a bit odd because normally they don't participate in other stuff. They just kind of
they have BlizzCon,
do their own thing. Private Division, Riot Games, Squeenix, and Steam. So I guess if Valve's doing,
I don't imagine you're going to get a BlizzCon this year.
Oh no.
No.
I imagine, and this is just by how things have been going, we're not getting any cons of any kind.
Oh hell no.
No. But the thought was, I mean, even when this first started, people were like, yeah, it just makes sense for them to cancel BlizzCon because
they don't have anything new,
unless you have something,
unless they have a super secret,
absolutely mind-blowing new information for like Diablo 4, which I can't imagine they would have, since they really have only had like 6 months to work on it. Since they did that the trailer basically, because I mean, in theory, the Warcraft expansion will already be out, maybe, but even then, like, that's not exactly something that is a crowd pleaser, you know.
No.
Hearthstone isn't big enough. Heroes they don't even really talk about anymore. Even Overwatch 2, I don't think is the big crowd pleaser or whatever, since it's literally just like single player campaign mode.
They're gonna get their butts kicked by Riot.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Valorant is crazy popular right now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't foresee them doing a big giant convention in 2020. To just, you know, I don't know, showcase a bunch of
Warcraft 4
they have in the works. Yeah.
I
mean, it's something like Warcraft 4 or StarCraft 3, or
I mean, yeah.
They kind of need a bit of a curveball or something, right? They need to do something different. Yeah. I feel like they need something totally new and fresh.
Yeah.
Or they need to like break another one of those glass cases.
Yep.
They already used the Illidan.
In case of emergency, break glass. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're kind of getting that in Shadowlands with with Bolvar, kind of, but Bolvar's not as big as Illidan.
Not even close.
No,
he's a nothing compared to like he's like a C tier character,
kind of. So yeah,
have a full release date for Shadowlands.
Do we?
I'm looking right now
because it's in alpha right now. So
I would assume September-ish.
I would have, but I don't know if it's going to be ready by then. If it's May and we're still in alpha.
Yeah, because it's still on pre-purchase.
Oh, I think we lost Josh.
From WoW. I think we might have. Yeah. I'm sure he will undo and reconnect.
He'll come back in a sec.
Yeah.
But
I'm looking at
yeah, I don't think they've announced a date yet.
Yeah.
So, and that's fine. I mean, let's put it this way: it gives me a lot more time to finish up my current gaming before that drops.
Yeah, we don't have an exact date yet from Blizzard, but it is coming sometime this year. I do agree with what you guys are saying. It'll probably be around September-ish.
I mean, it usually is, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back to like October or November this year.
Yeah.
Just due to everything that happened this spring, kind of set them back a bit. So.
Yeah, it can be kind of hard to. I don't know how much their staff has the availability to work at home, or the just ability in general to work from home.
There we go.
Yeah, I would imagine it'll. We haven't gotten an announcement that it's been pushed back to 2021, so that's
what,
good
Shadowlands?
news. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think it get pushed back to 2021. Because, I mean,
yeah,
like, we're in alpha, but we're in alpha. So, it all depends on basically how well alpha testing goes, and then moves on to beta testing and how well that goes. So, the fact that there is a playable build out right now is a good sign. It just is, how many hands are on deck to accommodate any changes that need to be made. So,
yeah.
All right. Final item on the news list.
Yeah.
So, Unearthed Arcana. So, those who follow D&D Beyond have noticed that they pulled a bunch of subclasses and archived them. What was it, 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
And apparently that was in preparation for a new round of subclasses to replace them. So this included the Revived Rogue, Genie-Packed Warlocks, and then there was one more.
Well, no, Genie-Packed Warlocks is one of the new ones.
No, it was also one of the ones that got archived.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. It was Pact of the Noble Genie was the one that was archived. So,
okay.
And then there was one more. Oh, it was some kind of wizard. Onomancy. So name wizards.
Okay, I was gonna say because we got Phantom Rogues, Genie Pact Warlocks, and Order of the Scribe Wizards. And you were kind of explaining to me the nice thing that I like about what Beyond has done because I do play the Revived Rogue, and I do like that so long as it stays on my character sheet, I get to keep it. It stays on my character sheet.
Yeah, so it's not going to break your. They're not going to break your character if you have something that's been archived.
Yeah, it stays on there, which is really nice. It does say that in a little like parentheses where it used to say UA, it does say like archived or something like that. But so just anybody who was playing those, just don't take it off your character. Yep. Unless you genuinely want to switch.
Yeah. And they gave people a window to create subclasses to recreate the subclasses. So, unless, of course, it was for Artificer, in which case you cannot create subclasses for it because it's not part of the basic rules. So I'm hoping that they figure something out for that. So we got 3 new subclasses, 2 of which are meant to replace. So we have Phantom Rogues, which are meant to replace the Revived. Genie-Packed Warlocks, which are meant to replace Noble Genie-Packed Warlocks. And then Order of the Scribe Wizards, which are supposed to draw on influences from the Archivist Artificer. So, to kind of go into a little bit of detail about these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my old PDF of it here so that we can take a look while we see if Josh comes
because what
back.
you sent me was Phantom is less quote you died end quote and is more quote Death Knight but with sneakiness end quote.
Yeah, so it definitely changes things up a bit.
Yeah.
Let's see, is this the correct one?
And Genie Lock gets a tiny house.
Yes. Here we go. Subclasses revisited. So yeah, the Phantom Rogue is basically Ah, okay. So yeah, it's the Revived is meant to be almost like a Revenant for
Yeah.
rogues. And really drawing on like as Courtney was saying, the like you died and you came back and you're like using almost like a little bit of Devas from 4th edition. You are drawing on past memories and past lives to help you do your thievery work, and drawing on the powers of death in order to do that.
Yeah.
The Phantoms are kind of more akin to what Assassins were like in 4th edition, where they draw upon the powers of death and shadow to gain supernatural benefits from killing their enemies.
Okay.
So, for example,
Yeah.
so the Revived had a feature of that was, I think it was called Whispers of the Dead or something similar, where what it is you get a tool or skill proficiency of your choice, and when you finish a short or long rest, and it lasts until you finish another short or long rest, in which case you could continue keeping the same one. With the flavor being like you're drawing on past memories to regain this knowledge. This is instead, it's now just echoes of those who have died begin to cling to you and impart their knowledge to you. So same mechanical feature, but instead of you drawing on your own past memories and past lives and deaths, it's you're kind of drawing on the memories of people around you that have died. So sadly, the Phantom does not get the cool Shadow Bolt ability that that as Courtney's character has demonstrated to great effect on Tales of Jamora. Instead, what happens is, so immediately after you use Sneak Attack to deal damage, you can target a second creature that you can see within 30 feet of the first creature. You roll, and this ability is a little complicated. It's you roll half the number of Sneak Attack dice for your level, rounded up. And the second creature takes psychic damage equal to that roll's total. As basically spirits of the dead wail around them as banshees. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Personally, like it has interesting flavor, but I think this is too complicated.
Yeah.
I think it's got too many finicky things, too many things to calculate and keep track of.
Even with
honestly,
D&D Beyond, I'm sorry, but I really
like
think
the simplicity of basically Bolt from the Grave, where it's just
Bolts from the Grave is amazing.
When you use Cunning Action, you basically throw a Shadow Bolt, and it deals your Sneak Attack damage, and if I want to say it's if you have Sneak Attacked already, you can't use it.
Yeah, so I actually have
and then
my
if you use it, you then can't
up.
Sneak Attack. So it's basically a way for you to get Sneak Attack damage in.
Yeah, I really the way that I've been really playing it, because you can use your Cunning Action once every as your bonus action every turn. You can use your Cunning Action.
Yep.
And so long as you have that as your bonus action, then you can immediately Bolts from the Grave and do that necrotic damage. And the only drawback that I've come up with is, one, it does take a bonus attack basically to do it, or a bonus action to do it. And it does use your Sneak Attack for the turn.
Yes.
But so like I'm going to use an example from, I think, not the last time, but the time before. I had to use my Sunblade. I had to use my bonus action to activate my Sunblade, so I couldn't do my Cunning Action, which meant I couldn't do my Bolts from the Grave.
Yeah.
But I could have done if I had gotten all of the things that qualified.
Yeah, you
for
could have done
sneak
a normal
attack.
sneak attack. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it's sort of like Swashbuckler. It gives you
Yeah.
an alternative means of getting sneak attack damage in,
Yeah.
which is good for rogues. Instead,
Yeah.
this is giving you some kind of overly complicated ability that also functions when you sneak attack, and then has a number. So I'm also I'm not a big fan of just uses per day these days. Like, I want there to be more interesting mechanics. You know, whether it's I mean, like psionics, where it's a weird die that you're rolling, and you know can increase or decrease uses based on that. I do like things that are usable per short rest. Or I mean, I don't know, like have it be once per day or something. To me, that's fine. My issue is that if you have it set to a certain number of times per day, that encourages what was known as the 5-minute workday. Back in 3rd edition, where you would do a fight. Sorry, you would do a fight. Spellcasters would unload all of their spells and basically like destroy the fight in like one round.
Yeah.
But during that one round, like they cast 8 spells. That's an exaggeration, but collectively your spellcasters would cast like 8 spells and burn through like half their spell slots or whatever.
Yeah.
Or leading up to that fight would burn through all their spell slots. Then the fight's over, they have no spell slots left or any, you know, decent spell slots. And then they would say, we have to rest.
You know, 5-minute workday. Okay, I get it
so
now.
That it's the 5-minute workday.
Yeah.
So
but
that's just my personal opinion.
Honestly, my biggest confusion it is just the Phantom is just very confusing. And I don't like the whole like it's not like the sneak attack. It's like half the dice rounded up, like all of that extra thinking. I like to just grab my sneak attack dice and roll them.
Yeah, I think if they wanted to make it less complicated, is I would just have it deal half your sneak attack damage. Right? So when you roll your damage for sneak attack,
yeah,
right, you add up all that damage, and then you just deal
and then half
that damage to the second creature.
Yeah. No, I think that would be great.
Because you're going to have to do that calculation anyway.
Yeah.
So you do that.
That would be easier. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the reason why they don't do it that way is because this is not affected by crits. Where a sneak attack is.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I will give them that. Yeah, because that is the one thing is I don't know because bolts wouldn't count or could be counted as with crits.
You can crit because you roll an attack roll with bolts from the
because
grave.
I roll an attack roll for this, but this one is just like splash damage or some other type of,
Well,
right?
so there's no attack roll. There's also no saving throw, so they just automatically take this damage.
Yeah.
So I mean, that is a balancing factor, is that you're just automatically dealing damage. But I also feel like that's an oversight. So I don't know.
Yeah.
At 9th level, Tokens of the Departed, and this is where this I think feels like it's like Death Knights, but they sneak around and wear leather armor. So when a life ends in your presence, you snatch a token from the departing soul, a sliver of its life essence that takes a physical form. So as a reaction, when a creature you can see dies within 30 feet, you open your free hand and a tiny physical object, a trinket, appears there, and it is a soul trinket.
No. This is Avernus soul coins.
No, it's choose the trinket's form, or you roll on the trinkets table in the player's handbook to determine it. So, things like a petrified mouse, or a key that goes to some door, or an old doorknob, or
yeah.
While the soul trinket is on your person, you have advantage on death saves and con saves. you can have a maximum number of soul trinkets equal to your proficiency bonus, and you can't create one while at your maximum. As an action, you can destroy one of your soul trinkets, no matter where it's located. When you do so, you can ask the spirit associated with the trinket one question. The spirit appears to you and answers in a language it knew in life. It is under no obligation to be truthful, and it answers as concisely as possible, eager to be free.
Oh. Does it say, like, so you can basically keep these soul trinkets for as long as you'd like, so you
Yep.
always have those
Yes.
advantages.
Yep.
But you can also, if they died in front of you, you can, for lack of a better term, speak with dead for like
kind of
one question.
Except it's a spirit, so speak with dead has very sort of strict rules on it because it's the corpse is what you're talking
Yes,
to. You're
it
not
does
talking to
have
the
strict
spirit.
rules on it.
Whereas this, and here's the other problem I have with this ability is too loose, right? And it's also a lot for the DM and the player to keep track of, because now the moment that you create a soul trinket, now you have to write down all the information about that NPC that was associated with that soul trinket. Even if they were originally meant to be, random monster number 5. Is now you have to start creating a backstory and everything so that, if the rogue decides to destroy the soul trinket, number 1, you know which one. And number 2, then like how to answer any questions it might have. And like what would be applicable. So
and who knows?
Yeah,
maybe
I mean, it's also it's essentially the mechanical benefit to it is an ability that revived rogues got at level 3, and this is a level 9 feature. So, at level 13, you can assume a spectral form. You gain a fly speed, hover. Attack rolls have disadvantage against you. You can move through creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain. But if you end your turn inside a creature or object, you take force damage. This lasts until 10 minutes. Or you end it as a bonus action. To use this feature again, you have to finish a long rest or destroy one of your soul trinkets. So, and then at level 17, basically when you use Wails from the Grave, which is that sneak attack weird thing, you can now deal psychic damage to both the first creature, so the creature you sneak attacked, as well as the second creature. So, there's that. All in all, I think it has a place. And my concern, I think the reason why they sort of gave up on the revived rogue is because sort of revived, quote unquote, as a concept, isn't necessarily rogue specific. And I think that's where they were like, does this flavor, is it only applicable to rogues, or is it more universally a thing?
Is this something that,
since there's like a revenant, I think there's a revenant racial option or something, or there was one at some point, and I know in Wildmount they also now included, basically there's like a revenant boon that your character can get, which basically does a lot of the base features that revived rogues got. So I'm
gonna be sticking with revived.
Oh yeah,
I mean, absolutely not going anywhere on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about the Phantom. It seems far too complicated to keep track of.
Yeah.
Even with D&D Beyond.
Yeah, I think Wails from the Grave is too complicated. And I think Tokens from the Departed needs a bit more structure to it. And it seems wrong that they don't have some sort of like thieving in there as like thieving part of life essence or something like that. Because
like you have to
that's a trope in like JRPGs.
Like you have to take it off the body basically, and not.
Well, no, what I mean is like a trope in JRPGs is like thieves get steal HP and steal MP, and that's like something that hasn't really translated into D&D, where like that would be perfect for the Phantom. Is like you could literally steal hit points, from a creature by saying like you're stealing part of its soul. So I mean that's something that you could work into sneak attack right there. And instead say like you regain hit points equal to half the sneak attack damage you deal or something like that. So yeah. But yeah. So all in all,
Yeah.
I like Revived better. I think it's got better flavor. I think it has better mechanics. So all right, next up, this is a version I do like a lot better in this incarnation is Genie Pact Warlocks. So one of the things that they do is you get the expanded spell list. You get regardless. So there's a spell list that you get regardless of what type of genie, and then there's an additional spell list based on the type of genie master that you serve. Basically, a warlock that serves a djinn will be different than a warlock that serves an Ifrit. And basically, they're all very sort of elemental focused. So this is good if you also want to play like an elemental sort of warlock. Where
that's nice. Djinns get greater invisibility.
Yes.
Greater invisibility is fun.
Yep. I mean, other notable ones, warlocks having fireball is just gross. As is Cone of Cold. I mean, they get create food and water, which is nice. Stone Shape, Wall of Stone are both good ones. But the big ones are they all get creation, and they all get wish as a 9th level spell.
Where is create food and water?
It's under genie
third
spells.
level. There we go.
Yeah, 3rd level. So, but the big thing is, so the genie's vessel has been retooled so that instead of like you Pokeball somebody and you trap them in there for your master's amusement, it's now you so it's almost like you get trapped in the lamp, so that as a reward for the phenomenal cosmic power that you're being granted, you now also have an itty bitty living space. Yeah. But this is you're given the option of doing this. So
it only takes an action to do it.
It's once per long rest. So again, once per day. But you can remain inside the vessel for a number of hours equal to twice your proficiency bonus. So right off the bat, at level 1, you can stay in there for 4 hours. And here's the nice part: is it is a persistent space. So it's not like Rope Trick or Leomund's Magnificent Mansion.
Oh, it's like Genie's bottle in I Dream of Genie.
Yes. So, and what I mean by this is, if you put stuff in there, it stays in there. It doesn't suddenly spill out or whatever. So, it's in the shape of a 20-foot radius cylinder, 20 feet high. And the interior resembles
on the inside. Yeah, on the inside of it. Yeah.
Yes. It's comfortably appointed with cushions and low tables, and is a comfortable atmosphere. So it's basically like a little comfortable sitting room, with all sorts of beanbags and pillows and whatnot. For you to lounge around in.
Again, think of Genie's bottle in I Dream of Genie. It was filled with all the big plushy pillows and the cute,
You
pretty
thought it was
tapestries.
someone else, but it was me.
Dio. You have no video.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But yeah, the pretty tapestries up in the bottle and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, I think what's really cool is and this is a question I have of how that would work for you as a DM. How would it work if your vessel was a ring with a compartment? Like, and say like you had it, that's the third option for it, is ring with a compartment.
Oh. I mean,
so my question is like, what if like you decide like when you want to bring it around with you, like it's actually you're like actually wearing it like either on a chain or um on your finger, like would it just like just drop to the ground when you
yes.
there we go. I can see you now, Josh.
Finally, okay. I don't know what's going on. Apparently, Discord had an issue. Their website said there was an issue, so apparently it affected me. So sorry.
So what happens, Courtney, is if you are carrying the vessel,
yep,
and you go into the vessel, that it sort of drops to the ground.
What if you are the vessel?
That is not an option.
Then it causes a sort of recursion loop, and then you all just stop playing D&D.
Okay.
Yeah. So Josh, we just got done talking about the Phantom Rogue. Which...
Yeah, I was listening via Twitch.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So any quick thoughts on basically fast death knights?
Yeah, they faked us out. They debated us by getting rid of stuff, and then you thought it was gone, but no. I mean, I'm happy with whatever they're doing. You know what? As long as they're like trying new things and putting out new UAs, I'm happy. I'm always interested to see different ways to play classes and different twists on things that are already out there. And you know what? If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. You don't have to use it. It's all just test stuff. It's for funsies. You could do what I did with like the Mystic way back when it came out. Try it and realize it was broken and be like, wow, that's broken.
Yep.
And then find out Wizard basically agrees.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of D&D. I think the fun of it is trying different things. And this isn't a personal attack at you, Sean, but you can't just play the same class over and over and over again.
When I finish a campaign, I will.
I know. I'm just joking. But I mean, for me, a lot of the fun is, granted, I like DMing more than I like playing, even though I do like playing. I like, one, I'm a bit of a control freak and I like lording over everybody. But I also like that it's a way for me to get my kind of creative juices going in a way that works really well for me. Like, I don't have it in me to sit down and write a novel at this point in my life. Even though I would love to someday, I just don't have that. But I can kind of do that via D&D because I have like 5 other people doing a lot of the work for me.
Yes.
Because they're basically making the story as they go, and I'm kind of just providing a place and a setting.
What do you think I'm doing with my notebook for Tales of Jamora?
There you go. But I mean, and then the other part of that is like I was getting to is just thinking of different characters and just literally just not even having to play them, just thinking about it. People who play D&D a lot think about D&D a lot, and like think of the different characters you can
think about the things of it. Think about
And again, like even though I'm thinking a lot more on the DM side of things, I spend a lot of time like when a new UA comes out, even if I don't read through the whole thing, if I just get the gist of it, like, oh, that gives me a really good idea for this or that. And especially in my brain, it connects to other media. And because I say this all the time, I love to steal and borrow from other pieces of media. And I do that all the time with characters too. So I really like the genie thing's a cool and interesting take. I like the phantom thing. I like the whole aesthetic of that. It's all good with me.
So kind of I want to pick up the pace a little bit on going through this UA just so that we have time for quest log. So basically, later features for the Genie Warlock are you get resistance to damage based on your Genie patron type. One thing to note is Dao give resistance to bludgeoning damage, which is a lot more common than thunder, fire, or cold. So I feel like that is an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Just because it's a basic weapon damage.
Yeah, because it's one of the basic melee things. You'll come up
Yeah.
with that more than magic. Yeah.
You also gain the ability to fly around like a genie spirit. Then at 10th level, you also get to invite your friends into your cool, sweet lamp abode. And
Not that far.
yeah, the interesting thing about that is if you spend at least 10 minutes in there, you gain the benefit of a short rest. And anyone that you add your proficiency bonus to the number of hit points anyone regains if they spend hit dice there.
Well, I know what I wish. Because it's a genie.
What?
Haha, I didn't even mean that.
Yeah.
Is
you can do that at level 9 spell.
Is if you stay too long in the lamp, you have to wait till somebody comes by and rubs it to let you out. I don't know. That's just like, is that even? Maybe that's part of it, but like, I think that'd be an interesting little.
No, you just get ejected.
Thing. No.
Yeah.
Because you can only go in there once a day.
Harmlessly ejected.
In my game, I would homebrew it. That if you tried to hide in your stupid lamp from my monster all day, you are now stuck in that lamp until somebody rubs it.
I think one of the best underrated uses, perhaps, that is, again, using it as like another extra dimensional container, since objects that you throw in there stay there, and it has no weight because it's an extra dimensional space.
Yeah, that's good.
So, it's like a bag of holding, but you can only really access the stuff in it once a day.
It is much closer to a once per day like portable hole, except that it's 40 feet wide and 20 feet high.
Yeah, it's way bigger than a bag of holding.
That is kind of comparable to the size of my house. Now that I really think about it. Yeah.
How big? What is it?
How big this space is. It's a 20-foot radius cylinder. That's 20 feet high.
That's about the width. That's about the width of my house.
So 40 feet across and 20 feet tall.
And it's 20 feet high, so it's like it's almost like a 2-story house.
Yeah,
it's a very small 2-story house.
I think that's bigger than your house. About footage.
It's probably about the same size.
It's close. It's more that 20 feet high.
Yeah.
Right. Because you would cut that cylinder in half and put those two halves next to each other, and that would be about your house's floor plan. Kind of.
Maybe. My house is very small.
No.
Because then you would have 40 feet long. You'd have two 20-foot diameters next to each other, right?
It's 20-foot radius.
No, it's a 20-foot radius. So it's 40
not
feet.
diameter.
It's a 20-foot radius.
Yeah. It's a 40-foot diameter.
Oh, yeah. So that, yeah. My bad.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's big. It's a lot of room for throwing stuff in there.
That's actually where you could make it. Personally, I think that it would make sense if you made it long and had like if you did the ring, you could have it be like a long gem or whatever, like a long compartment, like those coffin rings that opens instead of like a gem or like another circle. Like I would argue that you would
it doesn't have to be a lamp?
No, you can have an oil lamp, an urn, a ring with a compartment, a stoppered bottle, a hollow statuette, or an ornate lantern.
So here's the thing: is the inspiration is there are genies of the ring, and so you are just stored in the ring when you do that.
Yeah.
So really, what you want is you want somebody else to hold on to this while you do that, or do you want to put it in a safe place? Now, when you reappear right next to the vessel. So
But the way that I would argue that, like, I bet you could get the, say you do the 20 and 20 and put them like kind of next to each other, is if you did like a coffins like style ring or something where it was longer.
It says the interior.
The interior
because
doesn't
it says it
change
resembles
based
your
on
vessel.
the vessel.
The interior does not. Yeah, so it's an extra dimensional space, Courtney. So it's a demi-plane.
Has
Okay.
zero to do with the shape of the vessel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because it says and resembles your vessel.
Yes. So it overall is made to look like the inside of the vessel, but that's more of like the material.
Okay, so
And
I get
etchings
it.
and
So if
markings
it's
and
like,
stuff, yeah.
again, like say it's like a hollow statuette, it would look like the inside, like plaster on the inside,
Yes.
or something like that. If it was a again, if it was like an ornate lantern, you would see it on the walls like the lantern
Yes.
outsides or like the metal interior. Okay, I get it
Yep.
now. I get it.
Yep.
This would be
This is giving me an idea for a villain.
this
Then at level
is giving
14,
me an idea for a character.
at level 14, they're bringing back Limited Wish, which was basically a low level version of Wish. It's you just get to cast a spell of 6th level or lower that has a casting time of 1 action from any class. You don't need to meet the requirements of that spell, including costly components.
Oh,
The spell simply takes effect as part of this action. Once you use it, you must finish 1d4 long rests before you can use it again.
that's fine. That's fine. What level is Hero's Feast?
Probably 6th.
Wait, what does Limited Wish do?
So Limited Wish is as an action, you basically entreat your patron to grant you a wish, and the effect is you cast a spell of 6th level or lower that has a casting time of 1 action.
Oh, okay.
The spell can be cast from any class's spell list, but you don't need to meet the requirements, including costly components.
That's fine. No, okay.
So
that's not that strong.
Spell.
I mean, it's strong, but it's not that strong.
But Courtney, what is the cast time for Hero's Feast?
Not 1 action.
Oh.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Right. So this also rules out Resurrections. This
Yep.
rules out Hero's Feast.
That stinks.
I
no,
mean,
I think that's balance.
No,
yeah, 100%
like-
balance, because it gives you access to any spell in the game, level 6.
No, I completely feel that it's
lower.
balanced and it's fair. It's just one of those like, oh man, I really wish I could do. I wish I could do.
Yeah, I wish I could quadra wield and 2-handed axes, but
In game or in person?
both.
Okay.
I mean, if you make a custom spell at 6th level or lower that basically grants you spirit arms with axes in them, then you could.
Yes.
Best wizard spell, apparently.
But
so that wraps up the Genie Warlock.
yeah.
And then just to get through this really quick, Order of Scribes Wizards are they're arcane librarians. They get a magic quill. So it's basically you do this cool, like you do a flourish with your hand in the air and it summons like a spectral quill. That it doesn't require ink. It halves the time to copy stuff into your spell book, and you can erase anything you write with it as a bonus action. You also get an awakened spell book. So you get a spell book that is like partially sentient. You can use it as a focus for your wizard spells. When you cast a wizard spell with a spell slot, you can replace the damage type of that spell. Which that in and of itself is huge for wizards. That was like a series of feats in 3rd edition.
Yeah.
I'm still stuck on the sentient spell book. So is this like when Edwin got sucked into his book?
No.
Okay.
It's like sentient anything else, basically.
It's like well, so at this level, it doesn't have like an intelligence score or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the last feature is
so it can't like write back to you if you like ask it a question or something.
No.
Okay.
It's like that. You remember Ghost Rider?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what I'm
Yep.
thinking.
Okay. Yep.
And when you cast a wizard spell as a ritual, you use the spell's normal cast time instead of using the ritual cast time.
Oh,
once you do that once, you have to wait until you finish a long rest before you can do it again.
Okay. Fair.
At level 6, basically, whenever you finish a long rest, you just create a magic scroll. Must be first or second level, have a cast time of 1 action. Once in the scroll, the spell counts as 1 level higher than normal. Only you can use the scroll.
That's pretty good. That's an extra spell slot, right?
It gives you an extra spell slot of first or second level, and then auto up levels it by 1 level.
Yep.
Nice.
It also gives you a rider benefit of having the golden time required to make spell scrolls. At level 10, this is where it really starts to draw on the power of the Archivist Artificer, where you are able to create an artificial intelligence from your spellbook. It manifests as a tiny spectral construct that hovers around you up to 60 feet away. It's intangible. It doesn't occupy space. It sheds light or dim light in a 10-foot radius. It can take whatever form you like. But it has suggestions of a ghostly tome, a cascade of text, or a scholar from your past. Or the past, rather. It has hit points, and uses your armor class and save throw modifiers. It can hear and see, has dark vision. As an action, you can put your senses into it like a familiar. It kind of functions like a familiar, so you can cast spells through it.
It's almost like
you can do so a number of times per day equal to your proficiency bonus. And as a bonus action, it can hover up to 30 feet to a space, an unoccupied space that you or it can see. It can pass through creatures, but not objects. It can go up to 300 feet away. If you die... basically, it stops manifesting. If you die, it dies. If it moves away from you too far, or if you dismiss it. And then at 14th level...
Yeah.
This is the capstone feature. While you're holding the book and the mind is manifested, you can swap places with it via teleportation.
Oh, that's really nice because it can get up to 300 feet away from you.
Yeah. You can do that a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and then recharges with a long rest.
That's kind of a nice...
Here's the cool function of this ability, is if you die, but at least 1 spell remains in your awakened spellbook, you can return to life 1 minute later within 5 feet of the book. You revive with 1 hit point, then roll 3d6.
Why do you roll the 3d6?
Book loses spells of your choice that have a combined spell level equal to that roll or higher. For example, if the total roll is 9, spells vanish from the book that have a combined level of at least 9. Your choice of how that gets combined.
Oh, so like you could lose like a 7 and a 2 or whatever.
Yes. Thereafter, you are incapable of casting the lost spells, even if you find them on a scroll or in another spellbook.
So you can never cast those things again.
Correct. Unless the ability to so the only way to restore your ability to cast one of the lost spells is through Wish, which can restore 1 spell to the book per casting.
Doesn't Wish always have a chance of you losing that spell forever?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
That is... So...
Like items that have... that say you can cast Wish?
I thought there was some stipulation on Wish where, like...
Yeah.
You had a chance of it, like it being your last chance of casting it.
Yeah, like, do you have any... Yeah, because I remember Scanlan used his wishes, and, like, they were pretty excited every time he got them back.
Oh, you know what? Let's see. No, you are correct. Yeah, I thought that was if you do something that's like above and beyond the basic examples. But it's the stress of casting Wish to produce any effect other than duplicating another spell weakens you. So if you use Wish to duplicate another spell, you're good.
Right.
But if you use it to do anything else, after enduring that stress, each time you cast a spell until you finish a long rest, you take necrotic damage equal to the level of the spell. Or 1d10 necrotic damage per level of the spell, sorry. It can't be reduced or prevented in any way. Your strength drops to 3, if it isn't 3 or already lower, for 2d4 days. For each of those days, you spend nothing but resting and light activity. Your remaining recovery time decreases by 2 days. And finally, there's a 33% chance that you are unable to cast Wish ever again if you suffer this stress.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair for as strong of a spell as that is.
Yeah. So that does mean that if you use Wish to restore lost spells, you do have a 33% chance per casting to then lose Wish in its place. I would argue that you could just use Wish to duplicate the effects of a spell that you were unable to cast and not have the chance of losing Wish that way.
Yeah.
I feel like that's up to DM's discretion.
What?
Oh, whether you'd be able to cast, whether you would be able to have Wish duplicate that. I'd say it's a 9th level spell. It's Wish. Go for it.
Yeah. But I mean,
if you want to use Wish to cast another 9th level spell,
I don't think you can do that though.
No. Why not? I would say.
I think it's up to 8th level or lower. Correct. 8th level or lower. Yeah. So Wish just can't duplicate other 9th level spells. Although I would say that would be one of the greater effects that that's the state your wish to the DM as precisely as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, when you go off the rails of Wish, then it's in the DM's hands.
Yep. But yeah, so I think it's a great because here's the thing, you don't have to activate that ability. You could choose to just die. And say like, okay, I trust my friends to revive me. So I will just die. It's really, or alternatively, you could roll a 3 and then, decide, well, I guess maybe I don't really need detect magic or identify,
I don't really need these,
or whatever.
I don't really need these smaller level spells. Yeah. Now, question with that, actually. Do you get
you just go to the library and you load up on every spell you can possibly find ever in every spell book there. So that way you just have burner spells that you're able to get rid of.
Well, yeah, because it takes you half the time to
yes,
do it.
Yep.
And so, like, for some of those bigger spells, that is a lot of time taken off. So.
Yep.
Awesome.
So.
I have ideas.
Yeah. Actually, so talking about, playing other characters or whatever, is I do have in Beyond made up is an Order of Scribes wizard. Because it looked really interesting to me.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting take on wizard. I like it.
I even just like the ritual utility of like being able to once per day cast a ritual at base action time. So, all right. So let's just talk really quick. I don't have a whole lot of news, but to go through what's going on with 8-Bit Adventures. All right. No more Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate done because it sucks. So instead, we're going to be playing Animal Crossing again because Animal Crossing is relaxing and nobody dies.
No.
Mm.
You might pass out from tarantula.
Nope,
but
nobody dies.
Pass out from tarantula.
Yes.
Okay.
Is true.
It's like going unconscious in Stardew Valley. It just happens sometimes.
So that said, if I have time, I will try and put together a compilation video for Baldur's Gate. Maybe even have a section where it's just all the times that I died and reloaded the game. But that's it. So yeah, going back to Animal Crossing until Xenoblade comes out, and then it'll just be Xenoblade. Had a new comic this week.
Day.
The Monado.
Yes. Because this is the power of the Monado. I'm really feeling the power of the Monado.
I'm really feeling it.
Yeah, I can't wait. I truly cannot wait. So we also got a new comic this week, a hot fix. So as part of that, I did get a request to sort of lighten the sort of darkness filter that I had been putting on the comics because it was a little difficult to see. So I included that as a little sort of thing in the hot fix notes, is that darkness is like 20% less dark. So just a little way of I do take reader feedback, and as long as you're respectful and it's actually like constructive criticism.
Yeah, as long as it's something that you can fix or makes sense to fix.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to make accommodations, especially for accessibility reasons. 100%. And given the nature of the comic and how it's like about this fake video game world, that yeah, I can do silly things like put it in patch notes as features that have been implemented in the game. So yeah. So again, sorry for those who were hoping to see Tales of Jamora last week. Jamora 0, Kraken 1.
Yeah.
As storms rolled through, knocked out my internet for quite some time. I went to bed around 1 and it was still out. So, but we will be back, not this week, but next week.
Yes.
So yeah. And that wraps up this week in 8-Bit Adventures. So now, on to Questlog. Josh, would you like to go first? Because I know you have a little bit of a time frame.
Yeah. I finished Hollow Knight, got 112% completion. I'm happy. There's still more to do, but it's like ultra challenge stuff that I don't think I'm into.
Yeah.
So I started playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I think it came out in the fall last year, maybe, or the beginning of this year.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
It's still fairly recent.
Yeah, it's not super old. I thought about getting it. I never did, but I decided to finally just pull the trigger on it because I've seen some gameplay of it and I want to play it. It's Star Souls. Star Souls is what it is. It is basically Star Wars Dark Souls. I don't think it's as punishing as those games, but it's definitely in the same vein. But it's also got some like Metroidvania-ish stuff going on as well. Whereas you're getting different force powers that allow you to go back and explore areas you couldn't get to before, and on other planets, and you can explore other areas you couldn't get to before now that you have the new powers. There's a lot of that type of stuff going on. The combat can be challenging. It's not kind of what I wish it was, where you're not just hacky slashy with the lightsaber. You have to be kind of patient. And at least to me, it feels like you have to be pretty defensive. And like it's a lot of parrying and dodging and then looking for your opening to get an attack. And it's not just this with your lightsaber.
It's almost like they're forcing you to play the way a Jedi is supposed to fight.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't just spin to win?
I wish.
No, that's Grievous.
I kind of wish. Now, don't get me wrong, because it is satisfying when you nail it and you get it right. But sometimes it's frustrating for me because it's just like I kind of just want the power trip of feeling ultra powerful. And maybe I should just go play Force Unleashed, those games that came out years ago, because that's kind of what those are. I kind of wish it felt a little more like God of War on the PS4, because even though that had some strategy to the combat, it was a little more just like, you're just a powerful dude. But regardless, it's fun because when you do beat something difficult, it's like, yes, you did it. And you feel that kind of rush of satisfaction, which is kind of nice. Like in the first level, there was this big giant frog enemy.
Oh, yeah.
And there was like some like collectible behind it that I couldn't get to unless I beat it. And this thing was kicking my butt over and over again. And luckily it wasn't too far away from like the checkpoint, which was, I noticed a lot. There's not too much, like you're usually pretty close to where you die. So it's not that bad, but like over and over and over. And I'm like, I'll go do some other stuff. But I finally came back to it like an hour later and I got it. And I'm like, yes, I friggin' did it. And all it was for was like a heart thing, like a Zelda heart thing. It was like, oh, you get 2 more of these and your health goes up.
Nice.
Which was good. I'll take that. So there's like a lot of collectibles and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a lot of exploring. The story's pretty interesting. The premise is you're a Padawan who survived Order 66, and you kind of get thrown into this whole, you're looking for a holocron, which is like a Jedi or Sith artifact that holds information, and it's got a list of all the Force sensitive kids in the galaxy. And you're trying to find that so you can maybe start a new Jedi Order. But at the same time, the Inquisitors, which are kind of, they're Sith basically, that are like the underlings of Vader and the Emperor, who are, their job is to go out and kill the Jedi, are also kind of hunting for this and chasing you down. So yeah, it's fun. It's interesting. It's an interesting take, and it's a fun game. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I definitely get frustrated at times with it, but that's just me being frustrated with difficulty in any game. But I haven't found it to the point where it's like, I can't do this. This is impossible. I've not felt that yet. It's just like, I just got to keep going at it, and like, particularly on like a boss or something, just knowing their moves, and it's Dark Souls, right? So a couple nitpicks is like, if like, there's lots of treasure chests and stuff, but it's like they just contain cosmetic things. So it's like a lot of your like going back and exploring places you couldn't get to before. It's like, yeah, you get you have a new hilt for your lightsaber, or a new paint job for your spaceship, or a new paint job for your little robot droid. It's like, yeah, it's kind of neat, but like, it's more satisfying. Like, oh, here's a thing where your health upgrades if you get 2 more, or like your force meter up. Like, those are more interesting than the chest, because I like games where you feel like you're getting more powerful as you go. That's why I like RPGs.
Well, and if it's cosmetic stuff, that's really more like, I don't know, they should give you a shop or something, like a vendor or whatever, that has all of the options.
It's interesting because sometimes I do find myself like, I do spend a little bit of time cosmetically changing the appearance of my lightsaber. Yeah. The ship, I don't care because you hardly see it, and the robot is like, whatever. I kind of like its original paint job. Yeah. But it's fun. It's, like I said, it's interesting. It's a good Star Wars game, so I'm enjoying it. It's my kind of first real full-on foray into a Souls-like game. Because I played Dark Souls and only lasted a couple hours before I raged and gave it up. But this is not as punishing, so I feel like I can get through it. So yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I'll keep playing it and enjoying it. And then I should finish it before Xenoblade, and I'll probably hop into that bandwagon as well.
Fallen Order has one heck of an opening. That was such a great area.
Yeah, and visually it's amazing. Recommendation: if you have a PC that can swing it, play it on PC. Because even on PS4 it stutters. There's a lot of frame drops.
Oh, really?
And slowdown. And loading screens are forever. Like, if you die, you are waiting 45 seconds for a loading screen to your respawn.
Yeah.
That's a little insane to me on this generation of console.
Yep.
And it's just a black screen with a little thing in the bottom corner. There's like no tips or anything. It's just a black screen with a little loading thing in the corner. Like, I'm like, this is PS1 like loading screens. That kind of shocked me.
Like, even World of Warcraft, a game from 2004, at least gives you tips and artwork on loading screens.
Right. Even if it had that, I wouldn't even mind if it was the same tips over and over again, but something. Or like,
Yeah.
there's so many clever ways to hide loading screens nowadays. It's just
Something to look at is
it's a bit of
yeah.
an unacceptable flaw.
It's what narrow passageways, right?
They do that in this game.
Yep.
They do that. And Final Fantasy VII Remake it did that a lot too. So that's, if you ever play a game and you're like have to crawl through a narrow space, it's usually hiding a loading screen for the next area to render in.
Yep.
But this does that. There's also a lot of like Uncharted style stuff. So there's a lot of climbing and swinging and stuff like that in this too, which is fine. But good game.
Nice.
I recommend it. But
Cool.
play it on PC if you can, so you can avoid loading screens and get the full graphical experience.
I did not know it was on PC, so that's doubly good to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So, Courtney.
Yes.
Did you finish Banshee?
I have 11 episodes to go.
Oh my
I can
goodness.
do this. I can do this.
When
Think about how much time I just put into it.
when does Banshee leave Amazon?
End of tomorrow.
Okay. All right then.
As I said, I can do this. No problem. I have the season 3 finale and then season 4, and then I'm done.
All right.
Yeah. Yep.
So
yeah.
and then
that
you put dice
and
on
I
here.
got and dice that, and I organized all of my dice into a big tackle box. So now they're all organized, and I have room for more. And
see this tackle box behind me?
Yeah.
That's all miniatures.
Yeah, that's actually about the size.
That's like 1/3 of my miniature collection.
That's about the size of the tackle box that I just got and filled with dice, and I may or may not have just put in a birthday order of dice too. So.
And you did.
At least it's not drugs.
you added the Critical Role cast to show off your tackle box of dice organization skills.
I did. I totally did. I went on Twitter and I tagged the entire Critical Role cast.
So,
I think you need an intervention.
No,
I for real. So not even joking.
No. It could be worse. It could be illicit drugs.
I mean, I'm debating on which is worse.
It's not cocaine. It's not, it's not any other illicit drugs.
Well, this took a turn. All right. So I'll just do my stuff real quick because not much has changed. There's still Animal Crossing Path of Exile. That's really the big two. World of Warcraft here and there. Still leveling my monk.
Okay.
I did decide to roll up an alt in Path of Exile for the Delirium League, which is the latest league that they're doing. The idea being so that way I can try and get some of these cluster jewels that are a thing. So, really quick, in Path of Exile, we've all heard about the big Skill Forest map. There are nodes on the Skill Forest map that are sort of in the outer sections where you can socket a jewel instead of like you select it and you get a skill, buff or whatever. And so the jewels are their own items and they all have their own rarities and they give you different benefits. Delirium introduces these things called cluster jewels. And what they do is when you socket it, has its own cluster of nodes. And that they come in 3 different sizes.
Screw
and
that
so
game.
that if you get a large cluster jewel, it can come with a socket for a medium cluster jewel. That can then come with its own socket for a small cluster jewel. So if you get lucky, you can just like socket more and more jewels together. But yes, yeah. Oh, it's ludicrous and I love it.
It is ludicrous.
So the idea is there are these mirrors that pop up on the maps, and if you go through it, it takes you to like this sort of like Shadowfell type place where there's all like poison mushrooms and stuff like that or whatever. And when you run over them, it spawns like aspects of. I mean, it reminds me a lot of like the Shah stuff from Mists of Pandaria and Warcraft. So it's almost like you get transported to Shah land, and it's all Shah doubt and fear and anger and whatever that pop up. And basically, if you kill enough stuff before time runs out, you get bonus rewards. I mean, that's basically it as far as I can tell. This is the only difference. So yeah. And then Animal Crossing, I'm racking up Nook miles in preparation for streams. So I've got like 26,000 Nook miles, which translates to roughly 13 island trips, I think.
Nice.
So we'll do some island hopping on streams. And then
watching island hopping.
Yeah. And then my wife has been watching Upload, which is on Amazon.
Yeah. I wondered.
So I've watched a couple episodes with her.
It's on my list. I want to watch that after I finish Banshee.
I would say if you like Doctor Who, you'd probably like Upload. It's got kind of a quirky sense of humor like that. It's basically the idea is, it's in the future. With a very like sort of technocratic system in place where like seemingly disparate companies have bought each other out and everything. So and like formed sort of mega corporations. And it focuses around the industry of there are basically these giant sort of virtual setups, like VR setups, sort of like whatever it was in Ready Player One, the Oasis. It's like that. But when someone dies and wishes to, they can purchase like a death policy, and they get uploaded to the Oasis, and that's just where they live. But because there's also this corporate element, it's not like one giant one for everybody. It's like little gated communities, like there are with websites.
Like The Good Place mixed with Ready Player One.
A little bit. But
The Good Place has like neighborhoods of like each,
Yeah, it also highlights a lot of sort of idiosyncrasies and problems with corporate culture and capitalist culture as part of that. So
I think I keep seeing the ad for it, and I think my favorite part is
comes up before every Twitch stream I click on.
Yeah, I think my favorite part, and I can't. This is legitimately the reason why I want to see it. Is the soothing African American man's voice coming out of a yellow lab? I need to see that happen in the series. I want to see this, because it's the whole what if you really could talk to your best friend, like your dog? Like what if Monty could really become Sir Muntz?
Watch. I've said this before. There's one episode of Black Mirror that you should watch, and it's San Junipero, which is basically this premise of uploading into death.
Yeah.
And it's not as dark as a lot of Black Mirror episodes.
I've seen that episode.
Yeah.
I've seen a bunch of the Black Mirror
Watch
episodes.
It's the best episode of Black Mirror. It's really good. It's actually a really sweet, kind of cute story.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth a watch.
Nice.
But this one, so the main characters are, the main character has died, and sort of follows him around, sort of the digital afterlife and a lot of the trials and tribulations that are associated with that, as well as basically an employee of one of these sort of digital afterlife oases or whatever, who they're known as angels, but they're basically sort of dead customer support, tech support, and sort of dealing with all that stuff. Again, if you like Doctor Who, it's got kind of the same sense of humor and a lot of the same quirks and everything. It's not as silly as like some of the episodes of Doctor Who, but there's like an absurdity to things of like, basically getting like your consciousness getting uploaded into a hard drive, and that's just where you are, and it's like, this is the only copy of your son.
Library.
Do you want the carrying case? No, I don't want the carrying case. Are you sure you don't want the carrying case? And then
it's the library.
Can the dead person interact with alive people somehow?
So,
could I log into the dead thing and talk, chat with them?
Yes. And so what they also do is like they have video calls, and they also have this weird hollow technology where like they go like this, and like a little phone screen pops up in their, or they go like this and it pops up and they're like right here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they do video chats all the time between like people that are living and dead and stuff. You can also create avatars to go to these places. They also.
So the question becomes: are they even dead at that point?
Yes, that is a question. And well, because
Physical body,
technically they're
I'm
dead,
sure.
do they have rights?
Right? Yeah.
Like,
That
are
does
they-
that. That's some interesting
because technically they're data. Are they property?
stuff.
You know, and if somebody
kind
else
of like
is,
how we were talking about Jurassic Park dinosaurs last night.
not quite.
Now that they're here, we can't nuke we can't just nuke them.
It's more very close to like things of AI and talks of AI and everything. Like, are they still human? You know, and like because somebody else is in theory paying, because it costs money, right? You have to pay for a subscription and everything to these services. If somebody else is paying for it, like, does that technically give them ownership over the person that the plan is for? And so, like, does the person that is dead still have a say in how their sort of afterlife care is being managed? Sort of thing. So it brings up really interesting questions, but it does it like, it's kind of lighthearted.
Yeah. That's because that sounds pretty heavy.
Definitely has a bit of it's a bit heavy-handed on anti-capitalism. So, but pointing out in a farcical way of like
Yeet the rich,
kind of, a little bit. But I'm just
My brain
pointing
just
out things
processed that like 2 seconds too slow.
So like one of the companies is like AT&T or whatever, you know, like because AT like in theory just kept buying stuff up and becoming bigger. But it's also weird stuff like I think it was like Whole Foods and it would be something like Whole Foods and Twitch or whatever, like really weird things like partnering up and becoming megacorps. So
combos.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's there are times when I couldn't watch it because of like it just has like moments where people are acting embarrassingly, and like that just like it's funny, but like there are times when it's too much for me and I have to like turn away. I'm like, I can't like it makes me like, and although I kind of hate like cringy because I think it gets overused and misused a lot or whatever, but like I cringe like on behalf of the characters because I'm like, oh my, ugh, like it's so embarrassing.
Embarrassment kind of deal.
So awkward. Yeah. There's like a lot of awkward humor in there.
Oh yeah, I've seen in one of the trailers, it's like a pop-up and one of the guys is like being super, I guess, clingy towards another guy and like wanted to, and it was like 5 steps to know if you're being too clingy or something. And it was a pop-up that popped up when that guy showed up. And it's like, oh yeah, no, we don't even have to tell you that you're annoying anymore. The pop-ups do it for you.
Yeah, that actually comes up later in the season for like pop-up ads and stuff. But yeah, it's a lot of interesting.
I know that's something that's in the trailers that I've seen.
Yeah.
Or the
but
ads.
It's there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in that series. So
cool.
Yeah, I'd recommend it.
Nice.
So
yeah,
and
that
with
is
that,
something that I am looking forward to watching when I'm done with Banshee.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
And with that, we're finished. So thank you for joining us, folks. If you want to see more content from 8-Bit Adventures, be sure to check out 8-bitadventures.com. If you want to help support that content, be sure to check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/8bitadventures. Big shout out and thank you to all of our current patrons. You can also subscribe here on Twitch, especially if you have an Amazon Prime subscription. You get one free Twitch Prime subscription every month. So please consider using that for this channel. Big thank you to all of our current subs. Helping get us up to that 15 sub points so that we can unlock an emote. And our opening theme.
And also, just one quick thing about subs too. While you're watching, if you're subbed, you get double the bonuses. Like all of the gold that you earn.
So if you watch live on Twitch, there's channel points. You get double channel points if you're subbed. So
and double on the bonus too. It's usually 50,
yes.
and it's also it's 100 now.
Yes.
So yeah.
Our opening theme is One Up by Professor Shy Guy. You can find his work over professorshyguy.bandcamp.com. You can find me on the internet at 8-Bit Adventures. You can find Courtney at cbolin91 on Twitter. And you can find Josh here on Twitch at twitch.tv/damnanimal.
That's me.
So, as always, have fun, everyone, happy gaming, and enjoy your pie cake.